now at noon, an outbreak of severe weather hit the Midwest yesterday. Julian Seawright looks at what may be developing for today. Also, a bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers are trying to come up with a compromise on gun legislation, what they're facing. This is News 3 Now at noon. Good afternoon, I'm Mark Kane. Cleanup underway in the Minnesota town of Ferrata, where a suspected tornado snapped trees, ripped off roofs, and at one point cut off all roads leading into town. The fire chief says there's 75 to 100 structures were damaged. Crews went house to house, but fortunately found no fatalities nor serious injuries. And there are still storms developing in the Midwest. Let's head to the Weather Center where meteorologist Julian Seawright has looked at the potential for severe weather in our neck of the woods. Julian?
That's right, and the potential is starting to minimize itself as we continue throughout the rest and just kicking off our afternoon for us. Why? Is because we've had cloud cover throughout much of our morning going into now starting our afternoon. Though we are starting to see a bit of some showers lingering here into southern Wisconsin, we're not looking at much in terms of storms to really start to pick up for us, but areas just to the southeast of Dane County could see a bit of some storms kicking off, but that's one thing we're going to continue to keep our eye on because, again, with the lack of convection that we're going to be seeing because of this cloud cover, we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of fuel to really bring in these storms to be strong or even severe as we get into the rest of our afternoon and heading into our evening. As of right now, it's 75 degrees. We may see a couple degree increase in temperatures, but with the clouds sticking around, we're not going to be seeing too much of that warm up as we were expecting as we get in throughout the rest of this afternoon. Dew points around 63 degrees, but the cloud cover is going nowhere. Again, this is all going to be playing a factor in a role for us to see whether or not we're going to have any kind of storms later on for today, because we are pretty humid, but we just do not have the other energy that we need for these storms. But we'll keep an eye on what else we could be seeing throughout the rest of the afternoon in just a few moments, Mark.
All right, if the sun comes out, things could change.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Julian, we'll check back in a few minutes. Thank you. The strongest hurricane on record to make landfall in May in the eastern Pacific swept ashore on a stretch of tourist beaches and fishing towns in southern Mexico yesterday. Torrential rains and howling winds from the Category 2 hurricane Agatha whipped palm trees and drove tourists and residents into shelters in a region that's sparsely populated, except for a handful of small communities along the shore. Agatha was downgraded to a tropical depression this morning with sustained winds down to 35 miles an hour. The Dane County Medical Examiner has identified the man killed in a car versus semi crash on Highway 14 last week. The crash happened near the intersection with Haight Farm Road. The victim, 28-year-old Kevin Jose Arias Martinez of Fitchburg, died of injuries he suffered in the crash. Martinez was northbound on Highway 14 when his SUV collided with a semi-truck that was driving southbound. Martinez was ejected from his vehicle and was pronounced dead at the scene. Madison police say they found a driver who allegedly passed an officer going double the speed limit. The officer says the black truck sped by the officer going 75 miles an hour in a 35 zone Saturday night. The officer followed the driver but lost him after the truck ran multiple red lights. Police chose not to chase. Police have yet to release the name of the driver or if they will face charges. And we have a traffic note for anybody who uses Highway 30 here in Madison. Construction of the highway is scheduled to begin today. The project will repair and resurface the highway between Fair Oaks Avenue and the interstate. Highway 30 will remain open to traffic during construction with single-lane closures, but the westbound exit ramp to US 51 Stoughton Road will be closed Friday night through Monday morning. A group of bipartisan senators is working behind the scenes to find common ground on new gun control legislation. Skylar Henry has the latest from Washington.
Republican Senator John Cornyn and Democratic Senator Chris Murphy are meeting virtually today as they search for a basic framework on gun reform proposals. The two sides are expected to discuss closing background check loopholes and a red flag law that would allow judges to take guns away from people deemed to be a risk. In the aftermath of the school shooting massacre in Texas, President Biden is optimistic some Republicans are willing to act now.
I think there's a recognition in their part that we can't continue like this.
While the senators meet, the House is working on its own package of legislation and could vote on a red flag bill as soon as next week. In Canada, the Prime Minister is taking action. Justin Trudeau announced a new proposal to freeze handgun sales and implement a gun buyback program on military-style weapons.
We need less gun violence. We cannot let the guns debate become so polarized that nothing gets done.
difference.
If the legislation is passed, Canadians who already own a handgun would be allowed to keep it. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Well, 3 more nations have joined an international investigation team probing war crimes in Ukraine. Meanwhile, the International Criminal Court prosecutor said that he plans to open an office in Kyiv. The announcements come amid ongoing calls for those responsible for atrocities since Russia's invasion to be brought to justice. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern arrived at the White House this morning for a meeting with President Biden. Prime Minister Ardern is the first leader from New Zealand to visit the White House since 2014. A fire destroyed multiple cabins and villas at a popular resort in Utica, Illinois. Grand Bear Resort is located about 95 miles southwest of Chicago. The fire started with a porch fire on one of the cabins, which are owned separately from the resort. Each cabin measures about 2,500 square feet. The fire was so intense that it was visible on satellite images. A total of 57 fire departments responded to the scene. A jury resumed deliberations today in Johnny Depp's $50 million defamation case against his ex-wife, Amber Heard. The 7-person civil jury heard closing arguments Friday and deliberated for about 2 hours before leaving for the long Memorial Day weekend. Depp claims Heard falsely accused him of domestic abuse. She's countersuing for $100 million. Both actors took the stand during the trial. The 6-week sensational trial has featured a litany of lurid details of their short marriage. And if you think all those squirrels and an occasional raccoon in your neighborhood are nuisances, thank goodness you're not dealing with what an Australian grandfather encountered in his front yard. Cliff Dess was attacked by a 6-foot kangaroo, and the sparring match was, of course, captured on video. The two wrestled to the ground a couple of times as Cliff was trying to shield his dogs from the kangaroo's rage. He says he was bit a couple of times and was left battered and bruised as the animal ran off. The kangaroo has been spotted in the yard since the attack, and despite his injuries, Cliff says he doesn't hold a grudge against the animal. Well, that's something you don't see every day. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. European leaders have agreed to ban 90% of Russian oil imports, and we'll see how a Japanese company thinks they've come up with a solution to solving part of their labor shortage.
You're watching News 3 Now at noon.
If your bathroom is dull and outdated, it's time for a change. Call Mad City Baths, Wisconsin's #1 remodeler and trusted local source for quality baths, walk-in showers, and walk-in tubs installed in as little as 1 day. Infused with microban technology to prevent bacteria, mold, and mildew. Your dream bath is within reach during our home makeover event. Save $500 on a new bath or shower, interest-free financing for 12 months, and a $100 Walmart gift card with purchase. But act now and double your savings. Save $1,000 on a new bath or shower, double your interest-free financing from 12 to 24 months, and double your bonus. Receive a $200 Walmart gift card with bath or shower purchase. From Madison in South Central Wisconsin, call 608-729-4466. Let me give you that number again, 608-729-4466.
When you're injured in an accident, one mistake could cost you a lot of money.
Nobody knows bikers and the law like Hupy and Abraham.
They know how to get you all the money that you deserve.
It costs nothing for you to contact Hupy and Abraham, and they will never take a fee unless they win your case.
They got me way more than I thought I would get. Hupy and Abraham mean business.
Call Hupy and Abraham right now. Tell the insurance company you mean business.
Hey everybody, who's coming to the big show? It's Fed Aid, Saturday, June 11th at Ho-Chunk Gaming and Casino in Wisconsin Dells. An all-day outdoor event. Come out for classic cars, trucks, and motorcycles during the day and stay for the concert at night. Featuring country superstar Trace Atkins, Runaway Jew, the Mascot Theory, and Bev Killian. All benefiting heat and housing for heroes. Visit VetAidWI.com for details and to purchase tickets for Trace Atkins.
Violent and destructive riots in Kenosha, the Waukesha Christmas Parade tragedy, record-high homicides in Milwaukee, From defunding our police to releasing violent felons with low or no bail, liberal Democrats have created the worst crime wave in decades. Senator Ron Johnson is standing with our brave law enforcement officers to keep Wisconsin families safe. And he wants to keep violent criminals behind bars where they belong.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
Can't get home in time to watch the news? News 3 Now is always on.
Get Channel 3000 app now so you'll have all the day's top stories in the palm of your hand.
The Channel 3000 app. Get it now.
Powered by News 3 Now.
European Union leaders have agreed to ban 90% of Russian oil imports by the end of the year. It's the strongest stance to date for the bloc against Russia's war in Ukraine. One European official says it immediately covers 2/3 of oil imports from Russia. The embargo covers all oil brought in by the sea, but does allow for a temporary exemption for pipeline deliveries. The FDA is investigating a hepatitis A outbreak, possibly linked to organic fresh strawberries. There have been more than a dozen cases in California, Minnesota, and North Dakota, with at least a dozen people hospitalized. The packages of Fresh Campo and HEB brand strawberries were sold in March and April at Walmart, Trader Joe's, and other stores. The FDA says to throw the fruit out even if they've been frozen. And what will McDonald's locations in Russia be called now that the world's largest burger chain is leaving the country? Patent filings indicate new potential names include Fun and Tasty and Just Like That. In response to the war in Ukraine, McDonald's announced it is selling its 850 stores to a Russian businessman who runs 25 of his own locations. And that is your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Matt Piper.
Well, the great reshuffling has been a huge reason why home prices have been skyrocketing. New research shows that home prices jumped 23.8% during the pandemic, and that 15% of that growth was due to remote work. Many people turned to warmer climates around the Sun Belt, which was a significant driver in prices. By the end of the fourth quarter of 2021, the median single-family home in Austin grew by 26%. Phoenix also up 26%, and Boise, Idaho up by 24%. And you'll want to check out this video of a robot of a Japanese company hopes will help with the labor shortage there. Dubbed Bex after the wild goat species ibex, the robot can walk on 4 legs over rough terrains or move faster on smoother surfaces using wheels tucked in its underbelly. It was designed to perform tasks in agricultural settings, thereby answering a labor crunch problem in rural Japan. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow Industrial's down 48 points. The NASDAQ, though, up 43. The S&P 500 down about 7 3/4. Up next, see how Iceland has come up with a novel approach to attracting tourists. And Julian's back with a forecast that doesn't have a lot of hot temps in it. He's in next.
Let's face it, as we get a little older in life, everyday tasks like taking a bath can become challenging. Gain bathing independence with a new tub-to-shower conversion from Mad City Baths.
Oh, it's much easier for him to get in and out of. It's also bigger because we lost the wall and the tub surround, and it just gave us more space, and it's very nice.
Save now during our home makeover event. Save $500 on a new bath or shower. Interest-free financing for 12 months and a $100 Walmart gift card with purchase. But act now and double your savings. Save $1,000 on a new bath or shower. Double your interest-free financing for 12 to 24 months and double your bonus. Receive a $200 Walmart gift card with purchase. From Madison in South Central Wisconsin, call 608-729-4466. Let me give you that number again, 608-729-4466.
Those brave men and women of our armed forces, generations of them. Why should today's burdens fall back onto them? They were there for us. Now let's be there for them. Your local Wisconsin energy providers and the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund are working together to deliver Wisconsin veterans in crisis heat, power, and help staying in their home. But they can't do it alone. Donate today.
The increasing cost of inflation is impacting people and families here in central Wisconsin.
The D.C. liberal spending has triggered historic inflation. Senator Ron Johnson is holding the line.
Retirees on a fixed income, the working poor, those are exactly the people that are hurt most by inflation. Inflation is a tax on everybody.
Johnson voted against the reckless spending, and he's fighting to cut the waste in Washington. Tell Senator Johnson, keep fighting to stop the spending that hits us with the inflation tax.
Hop on your bicycle and take part in a celebration of diversity and pride.
Tomorrow, Josh Breider's in the 608 to help you gear up for this weekend's Trek Pride Ride.
And a cooler trend is on the way. We're going to be planning out your day tomorrow morning from 4:30 to 7.
News 3 Now is taking action, reaching out to our community to lend a helping hand.
Taking action by teaming with our neighbors and local leaders to help make this amazing community we share a better place to live.
Taking action for South Central Wisconsin. News 3 Now.
The Farm Report is sponsored by Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Let's check in now with Pam Yankee from the Midwest Farm Report after a long holiday weekend.
Yep, a busy one for a lot of folks. If you drove outside the Madison area, you probably saw more field work continuing. And with the weather that we've been seeing, a lot of farmers decided to harvest their first cutting of alfalfa. So that's a lot of what you see out there. I was also noticing this weekend, you may see some fields that don't look like they've been touched hardly at all. But if you pay close attention, you might see little lines of green plants. A lot of our farmers this year are going to no-till. That means that they leave the residue from last year's crop in this year's field and just plant in between it. Not only saves them time, it saves them resources. And you've seen the price on gas. Any pass that a farmer can skip as far as going over those fields makes them feel a little happier. Boy, I was really happy on Saturday with the turnout for the Greene County Breakfast on the Farm. Those folks in Greene County always get a jump on our June dairy celebrations. I tell you what, if that was an example of what kind of crowds we're going to expect at all of our face-to-face events this year, get ready, dairy volunteers, because I think they broke a record on Saturday with the folks that turned out at the Meyer Farm in Monticello. Thank you so much to that family for helping us out. It was wonderful. And you can see some of the pictures from that Saturday on my Facebook page, Fabulous Farm Babe. Let's talk a little bit about these markets. They started off in fairly good territory this morning when I was in the office, but have since lost ground. Everybody's still keeping an eye on the conversation that Russia's having with the world. Are we going to relax restrictions on them so the world can get wheat? Egypt has already started changing some of the conditions on the request that they are tendering so that they can open up more of the world to the marketplace. So a lot of different things are happening out there. This afternoon, we'll get our planting progress report, and that is something that we're going to have to focus in on because people are trying to figure out what's happening in places like North Dakota and Minnesota. What are those farmers going to plant, if anything? Barrel cheese today unchanged in Chicago at $2.29.5. 40-pound block cheese on Tuesday down 3 1/4 cents, $2.24 3/4. Well, double A butter gained 1/4 cent at $2.88 a pound. So there we go, off on a holiday abbreviated week this week.
Absolutely. All right, Pam, thank you.
Yep.
Countries around the world are using tourism to build back their economies after the pandemic. Iceland is harnessing humor to attract visitors, as CBS's Ian Lee reports from London.
Nothing ruins your vacation like work.
Iceland is trotting out a new ad for people saddled with too much work.
Outhorse your email. A revolutionary service where Icelandic horses write real out-of-office replies so you can relax.
How did you come up with this ad?
For the last couple of years, we have been trying to create campaigns from Iceland which have humor in it.
Researchers at Visit Iceland found 55% of tourists check their work emails on vacation, while nearly 60% feel their bosses and clients expect quick replies.
They are trained in corporate buzzwords. Your boss will never know the difference.
You can select one of 3 specially trained horses to help you stop stalling and reply.
We received a very large replica of the keyboard, so they got used to how to walk over it. I think they've been really enjoying themselves today. They've been playing along really well.
All this horseplay is designed to attract post-pandemic tourists to Iceland.
We're heading into the biggest travel summer since COVID, where we don't have a lot of restrictions.
At least 14,000 people have already ponied up for their free service.
Is it just for tourists or can anyone use it? Like, could I use it for my work emails?
this is for everyone to use.
So you don't have to be a globetrotter to just horse around. Ian Lee, CBS News.
Brilliant. Rather than having the horses work full-time writing replies, there are templates to choose from. As you might expect, most of them are just jumbled letters of nonsense. Brilliant idea, Julian.
Yeah, that's definitely one of a kind for us. But one other thing we're going to be keeping an eye on is switching our gears over to our weather. For as of right now, this is what we're seeing on our surface map. So the systems that were bringing in storms just yesterday are still trying to track their way into the upper Midwest. The thing is, though, is that we're just not looking to see too much of the confidence that we've been seeing over the last 24 hours, as it seems to still continue to lose strength over the hours as we continue throughout the rest of our afternoon. But as of right now here in Madison, we can see just a couple of showers are starting to pop up for us, but still nothing very organized, and we're not going to see anything really organized until we get into the afternoon. But still, where would we be seeing anything organized? Well, that's mainly going to be in the southeast, really into that corridor between the Illinois state line and just south of Milwaukee. Those areas could be seeing some storms. That's the best chance of us to even see any strong storms. But for us, it's not out of the question. It's just not going to be as widespread as we were once forecasting over the past 24 hours. But if we do see any storms, we'll just note that they're going to be they will tend to be severe, but they just will not have some of the typical severe storms aspects to it that we usually would have. A tornado chance is very low for us. Hail and even for wind is also going to be pretty low. However, we still could be seeing high winds as these storms look to sweep their way through as we get into the later part of our afternoon. But when could we see these storms start to pop up for us is really the question. Well, this afternoon is going to relatively be quiet until we get into about around the evening commute. Could start to see just a little bit of something starting to pop up for us, but again, it's going to be very isolated, pushing its way into the northern Illinois area and again into that southeastern corridor. It could completely miss Madison by the time we get into our evening hours. And the good news is that once we transition into Wednesday, well, we're looking for a completely different story. A lot more drier conditions. Could see a couple of clouds, but in terms of seeing any rain, well, we're not going to be seeing much as we get into our Wednesday afternoon. So as we take a look, once again, it's kind of good news that we've been seeing so much cloud cover throughout today, because that has limited how much heat we've seen, has limited our capabilities to see severe storms going into our afternoon, which of course is always a good thing. We don't necessarily need severe storms. We could use rain, but having thunderstorms that are severe is not always a good thing to have for us. But as we continue throughout the evening hours, the one thing to keep an eye on will be the fact that some of that cloud cover will start to break up as we get into our afternoon or to the rest of our evening hours. If that happens, we do have a chance of still seeing some storms start to pop up in isolated areas. So again, just make sure that you're being prepared to have your severe weather kit ready to go, and just have your plan ready as well, because we could start to see some of those storms starting to pop up for us, even though the chance of the confidence is on the lower side. Still don't want to gamble with it as we get in throughout the rest. Now, as we take a look at the three things we'll need to know as we get out of today, where we're looking for our severe storms to really start to pop up, we're going for cool conditions. It's going to be dry for the next few days as well. Then this weekend, we are looking for another active weather pattern, which is going to be starting to bring us some chances of even some storms and even some showers here in southern Wisconsin. So that's why I got to say, do not plan out too much outside as we head into the weekend, because even though it may feel good on the surface, we are looking at plenty of rain chances that will carry into next week as well. But definitely enjoy the next few days, because the rest of this week is going to look gorgeous, Mark.
Yeah, it looks almost perfect.
Almost perfect. I'll take it from right now.
All right, Julian, thank you. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. I'm next. We'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Your taste buds are going to be very happy once you feast on today's Southern classic. Yum.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Up to 80% of falls in the home happen in the bathroom. Don't struggle with a high-sided step-in tub that could put you in the hospital. Instead, get the accessibility you need with a new walk-in tub or shower from Mad City Baths. Infused with microban protection and backed by a double lifetime warranty. Remember, we install in as little as 1 day, so don't put it off. It's our home makeover event. Save $500 on a new bath or shower, interest interest-free financing for 12 months and a $100 Walmart gift card with purchase. But act now and double your savings. Save $1,000 on a new bath or shower. Double your interest-free financing from 12 to 24 months, and last chance to call to double your bonus. Receive a $200 Walmart gift card with purchase. Call for a free estimate at 608-729-4466. That's 608-729-4466. MadCityBaz.com.
Happy Take and Bake Tuesday! Every Tuesday at Papa Murphy's, you can get any large pizza for just $10.99, which makes Tuesday the best day to bring home all your favorites.
We might have too many favorites.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
When we needed new doors and windows for our home, we were looking for someone we could trust.
We've done the bargain brand windows.
What we loved about Next Door and Window is that they were different.
We really loved their educational approach.
Call 844-600-NEXT. 50% off your installation.
Violent and destructive riots in Kenosha, the Waukesha Christmas Parade tragedy, record-high homicides in Milwaukee, from defunding our police to releasing violent felons with low or no bail. Liberal Democrats have created the worst crime wave in decades. Senator Ron Johnson is standing with our brave law enforcement officers to keep Wisconsin families safe, and he wants to keep violent criminals behind bars where they belong.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
It's Terrific Tuesdays at Hy-Vee. This Tuesday, get Hy-Vee Midwest Pork 8-ounce chops, only 99 cents each. Dole celery, only 77 cents. Hy-Vee peanut butter, only 89 cents. And Gatorade, 4 for only $5. Tuesday only. For more ways to save on hundreds of items every day at Hy-Vee, check out our monthly catalog, our weekly ad, and scan the QR code to visit HyVeeDeals.com for even more deals.
You've probably heard the saying that everything old is new again. Well, that seems to be the trend we're seeing on menus across the country. Comfort dishes like mac and cheese, old-fashioned meatloaf, and southern shrimp and grits are finding their way onto menus at some of the most popular restaurants coast to coast. So let me show you how easy it is to whip up some shrimp and grits that are so good your taste buds will be doing a happy dance. We start by cooking some bacon until it's nice and crispy. While that finishes up, we add some grits to a pot of boiling water along with a good amount of salt. We discovered the trick to making really good grits is to be generous with the salt. Now we take our bacon out of the skillet, and in the bacon drippings, we cook some shrimp along with a bit of minced garlic until the shrimp are pink. Now that our grits have thickened up, we stir in a good amount of cheddar cheese. And to give our shrimp lots of flavor, we add a little lemon juice, a splash of hot sauce, and some scallions. And when we serve the shrimp over the cheesy grits and finish it off with some crumbled bacon, are you ever in for a treat? To get this easy recipe for our southern shrimp and grits, all you need to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a new old-fashioned way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Howard, thank you. Here's Julie. One final check of the forecast.
And even though we are looking at a lower chance of seeing severe storms, just be prepared because we still have that slight chance of seeing a little bit of something pop up in some of our communities this afternoon. So just make sure that you have your severe weather plan ready to go. You have your devices charged and ready to go as well. But aside from that, our 3 things we'll need to know, folks, is that after today, it's going to be smooth sailing for the rest of the week. Heading into the weekend, however, we are looking for more showers and even some storms on the way that could ruin our outdoor plans, but still can make up for a nice weekend at home, Mark.
Some nice June weather coming
Absolutely.
up. All right, Julian, thank you. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, have yourselves a great afternoon.